So you want to own a vending machine. Find a machine, drop it in a busy hallway, and watch the money roll in. Walk past one during lunch rush and it looks like the easiest business in the world. People lined up, cards tapping, snacks dropping, coins clinking into the tray. You watch that scene and think, this thing must print money all day, every day. Here's the problem. You just watched the 1 hour of the day that lies to you the most. The truth is, a vending machine isn't really a snack business. It's a real estate business that happens to sell chips. And the moment you understand that difference, everything about how a machine actually makes money and how it quietly loses money sitting in the wrong hallway starts to make sense. But before we jump into the business, you need to know how you can start a vending machine business. You need to know the types of vending machines, costs of the machines, need to pick a best location for your business, then restock products, collect the money, and if the machine breaks down, fix it. Before you buy a machine, you need to know not all machines are created equal. There's a real ladder here. At the bottom, used or basic mechanical machines are the cheapest way in, but they're manual, coin and card only, no data, and you find out something's broken when a customer texts you a complaint, not before. Above that, combo machines sell both snacks and drinks and tend to perform better because people prefer options. Then there are refrigerated combo units, which unlock fresh food and drinks but need real cooling hardware to keep it safe. And at the top, smart vending machines, touchscreens, cashless payment, and remote inventory tracking cost the most upfront, but need far less manual oversight, since the machine tells you when it's running low instead of you finding out the hard way. Now let's see what it actually costs to get your first machine running. And the range here is bigger than most people expect. At the bottom, used and refurbished machines run $1,500 to $4,000. You'll find these on marketplaces built specifically for used equipment, often starting around $1,600 to $2,300 for a solid unit. Step up to traditional new snack or drink machines, the classic spiral dispenser or stacked can style, and you're looking at $2,000 to $6,000. Want to sell fresh food, milk, or anything that needs temperature control? Combo and refrigerated units jump to $5,000 to $15,000 because you're now paying for real cooling hardware. And at the top end, smart vending machines, the ones with AI-driven inventory tracking, computer vision, touchscreens, and cashless payment, run up to $15,000 to $30,000 and sometimes more. So realistically, most first-time operators aren't buying the $30,000 smart machine on day one. They're starting with a used or basic new unit in that $1,500 to $6,000 range and upgrading once they've proven a location works. Now, the cost most beginners miss entirely. That is placement. A machine doesn't just show up in a busy office lobby for free. Property owners typically want a commission of 10% to 20% of gross sales just for letting your machine sit there. Some will ask for flat monthly rent instead. On top of that, add a card or mobile payment reader, $200 to $400 per machine, plus initial inventory to stock it, usually $200 to $300, and ongoing costs like electricity and repairs once it's running. And then there's the part people almost always underestimate, the actual product. You're not making these snacks. You're buying them from a wholesaler and marking them up. A single snack or candy bar typically costs you 30 to 75 cents from a wholesale club or vending distributor. A canned drink runs 40 cents to $1. To fully load one machine for the first time is enough product to fill every slot you're looking at, roughly $200 to $300, depending on machine size and what you're stocking. That per item cost matters more than people think, because it's the number that sets your margin. Beyond the initial stock, budget for ongoing costs too. Electricity to run the machine, and repairs when something inevitably breaks. Now, put it together and a realistic entry point can be one decent used or basic new machine, stocked, card reader equipped, in a location with a fair commission, lands around $2,000 to $4,500 all in. Go the smart machine route instead, and that number can climb past $20,000 before you've sold a single snack. Here's the part you actually want to know. How much this machine can make. It depends almost entirely on foot traffic, and the gap between tiers is bigger than most people expect. A low-traffic location, a small office with under 20 employees, a quiet apartment lobby, might only bring in $20 to $100 a month, barely worth the drive to restock it. A decent mid-traffic location, think a warehouse, a nursing home, a car repair shop with steady daily foot traffic, typically generates $300 to $600 a month in gross revenue. This is the realistic middle ground most operators land in. And a premium high-traffic location, a busy airport, a college campus, a transit station, a hospital, can pull $1,000 to $1,500 a month or more. Same machine, same products, completely different outcome, purely because of where it's sitting. That's why location scouting isn't a small detail in this business. It's arguably the single biggest decision you'll make. But here's the number that actually matters. Gross revenue is not profit. Say your machine pulls in $500 a month, a decent mid-traffic result. That money gets split 4 ways before any of it is yours. First, the cost of goods sold, buying your snacks and drinks in bulk, typically eats 40% to 50% of that revenue. That's the product cost we talked about a minute ago, adding up across every sale. Second, commission or rent to the property owner, usually 5% to 20% of gross sales, depending on how much they know their location is worth. Third, transaction fees. Adding a card reader can boost your sales by up to 30% because people buy more when they're not digging for exact change, but the payment processor takes their cut too, usually 3% to 5% per transaction. And finally, spoilage and electricity. Food and drinks expire, machines run 24/7, and something eventually needs a repair. Add it up, and vending machines generally run a 40% to 50% net profit margin after all of that. So that $500 month in gross sales realistically nets you somewhere around $200 to $250 profit. What the passive income ads don't show you. Restocking is a route, not a click of a button. If you own 5 machines across a city, that's a weekly drive to each one, loading inventory, collecting cash, checking the card reader. Then there's maintenance and vandalism. Machines jam, coin mechanisms break. In lower traffic or unsecured areas, machines get broken into. Repairs can run $50 to $300 depending on the issue, and a stolen cash box can wipe out a month of profit in one night. This is why most people who buy one vending machine quit within the first year. The time cost of servicing a single machine barely justifies the $50 to $150 a month it nets. It only becomes real money once you're running a route of 15, 20, 30 plus machines, where the driving and restocking time gets spread across far more revenue per trip. That's the actual unlock in this business. It's not passive at one machine, but it becomes closer to passive or at least highly profitable per hour worked, once you scale a route and can justify hiring a part-time restocker. So who wins in this business? Not the person who buys one machine hoping it prints money in a corner somewhere. The operators who succeed are the ones who treat it like a logistics business from day one, carefully vetting locations before buying equipment, negotiating low commission rates, and reinvesting profit from machine 1 into machine 2, 3, and 4. The other group that wins? Operators who go straight to smart vending machines with remote inventory tracking, so they know exactly when to restock instead of driving out blind and wasting a trip. So is a vending machine business worth it? If you're expecting to drop $4,000 on a machine and watch passive income roll in with zero effort, no, that's not what this business is. But if you go in treating it like a small logistics operation, picking locations carefully, negotiating fair commission, and scaling to a route instead of stopping at one machine, the math works. Modest per machine profit multiplied across a route adds up to a genuinely solid side income and eventually a real business. It's not passive income, it's scalable income, and that's a very different but still valuable thing.